So did you want to answer first?
Yes, so for me, I've always written poetry as a form of expression and release in terms of reflecting or digesting what's going on outside and what's out of my control. And you consolidate those thoughts and you kind of write it and express through poetry. So written poetry I've always done and loved. And then performance poetry, I only started to really get into. I used to watch it, Def Jam, poetry and stuff like that. The Americans and maybe one or two British poets, but I never really got into it till I met up with Nat Nye again and saw him performing some poetry, and I was really inspired by that. So that's how I got in that world.
So when I was saying about gift earlier, if you observe children, sometimes they just gravitate to doing certain things without even being told to. So yeah, I used to write stories and such. I always had a thing for writing poetry. So before I consciously realised this is what I was doing it. And then I used to do a lot of acting. This is where we first connected. And in that time, I used to go to a lot of spoken word type events or see spoken word people do their thing. And this came to a realisation that I can actually do this. Like, there's ideas that I have in my head. If I took it from just writing it down or ideas and put it onto paper and actually started to memorize it as a performance piece, then I could do it. Yeah, what would happen? What would happen? Basically I could do it. So I realized I could do it, and then I realized along with the acting journey that came to a halt that I had to be the master of my own words. So that's when I started to take poetry seriously and want to embark on it. Take on it as a real passion. So there's a difference between hobby and career, right? So that's at that point is when I about 12 something years ago.
Well, the first time I performed poetry was for Poetry Meets Art, which is one of our good friends' night that she runs, which is highlight in Congo. And I took to the mic bravely because I was like, man, I really love this stuff, but I have not had the confidence to do it myself. And that was the first time I did it, with the encouragement of my friends. And that was about 5 years ago now.
Yeah, something like that. My first time was at an event. I can't remember what event it was, but I decided to just bring the paper on stage and just jumped right in. And I realised that the feeling of being a spoken word artist and being an actor is different. It's much more personal, so those nervous feelings come a lot stronger when you're performing as a poet. Absolutely, because I like to have control, and I think as a black person or a person of African descent, control is very key for us in this world where a lot of times control is taken from us. So I couldn't really, with my mentality, I have to be the master of my words. I have to construct and create worlds.
The narrative.
Okay.
So I know Wole is Soyinka. In fact, we went to Freedom Park, which is in Lagos recently. And Freedom Park, he's one of the people that's helped. He's a patron for it. And my dad's really into his poetry and stuff. But me personally, it's not.
They're both great, they're both legends, so we know of them in that remit, but we're not intimately in the know of their work. What can we say? We can't really say that we're inspired by their works in that way.
We definitely respect them as legends, literary legends as well.
So we need to dive more into their work, to be honest. That's true. A lot of people
have helped us and supported us on our journey. Definitely, and we want to do the same thing as well. We also feel the need to support others, so reach out and give people that guidance, because we all start somewhere, and if you don't have that person that you can rely on, it just takes miles longer. Keep making the same mistakes or jumping right into holes that could have been avoided.
Yeah, like I had a lot of artistic support. Business less so, and I feel that both are very, very necessary. So there's one way of like being an artist and working hard at your craft and etc., but we live in a capitalist world, so we need to be able to know how to earn capital as an artist. So on the business side, I didn't get that much support, to be honest. And in terms of the giving back, that's this element that whenever I meet young artists or artists that just coming in, not necessarily young, I just have to tell them, make sure your business is sharp. Starting, then I'd say memorize. Right, a lot of artists make a mistake, poets make a mistake. Because of the page poetry thing, people are kind of attached to that, but it is when you get on the stage, you're performing, no matter how you want to look at it. Unless you're looking to do readings, then that's something completely different. So that's just page poetry heard audibly. But if you're coming on the stage to perform poetry, it's a performance. So the first thing you've got to do after you've written your poem is to memorize. Then once you memorize, you rehearse, and then you're ready for the stage. And once you're ready for the stage, then you hit up as many open mics as possible, so that you can get training and get used to it. Because things that you can rehearse at home, you're never going to be prepared for that could happen on stage. Like people talking loudly, or someone dropping a drink, or for some odd reason the line just come out of your head, and you're like, So you can only get that experience from performing regularly. Then after that point, it's like, all right, the business side comes in. If somebody approaches you to book you, how much do you charge? And then how long do you charge that amount for? And what kind of events do you now start targeting? And networking and etc.
Well, he said it all really. The advice I'd give to anyone up and coming and trying to get into spoken word is definitely take your craft really seriously and rehearse every single day. Memorize your lines and use that kind of ethos of the 10,000 hours with your poetry.
The Dreams project.
Yeah, so we've got several things coming up, things that we've been working on. One of which is called the Dreams Project, which is kind of getting people to hone into purpose and understand that you're currently could be living someone else's dream, a capitalist dream, and not your own, based on, Hollywood and media and social media now, how it constructs for you a version of a life that you think you're supposed to live, but it's not necessarily your own purpose. So the Dreams Project is about getting people to tap into their own sense of purpose again.
And then so outside the arts, we're also got a passion project we've lifted off the ground. It was there for 5 years and we finally lifted it. It's called Voyage to Motherland. That is currently actually coming out on Got Kush TV. Every other day, a new episode of what we filmed while I was there for 6 weeks. We went to Sierra Leone, Ghana, and Nigeria, and it was filmed and interviewed the best sides of Africa because people it's hidden for too long. So we just want to show the best side really right now.
Yeah, right now we're working on Voyage to Motherland and getting that momentum going so that we can keep dispelling the myths about Africa.
Yeah, at some point we're going to go back into the arts. So we've got to finish Dreams Project. We just want to get Voyage to Motherland off the ground because we feel the time is right now. Africa is right now. What Ghana's doing is amazing, and that we've been there, we've seen it very recently. So we just want to get that off the ground so we can start to do this work.
So we're looking to get big investment into Voyage to Motherland. That's our next target. Next goal.
Then the arts, we're very much involved in the arts from a different standpoint. So we're part of a digital platform, that's the other thing we missed out, called The Floor, thefloor.com, and that is about creating a digital platform for artists to best prosper in a way that the other platforms are not really helping.
Who knows? We're working towards some great, massive, big plans. So hopefully we would have ticked off many of those goals and travelled a few countries.
Yeah, we're going to be in Africa basically, and we're going to start to make some headway into ownership. That's the other thing. So very broad and vague, I know, but yeah, a lot comes under that. Just stay tuned, basically. Follow us on Instagram.
These are tough questions.
Sorry. It's okay. Just like, what would you maybe like to have achieved in
10 years?
Like 2030?
Have a throne.
Definitely want to have our own space and country that we've emigrated to, settled,
A few bases.
children and family growing.
Empire.
Yeah, building legacies.
Yeah, like, there's a few projects that we're proud of that is out there, and just something that we can show others as a physical demonstration as well as a holistic demonstration of examples of where we can get to, essentially.
We got together and I was running something along with my sisters called the Black Study Group, and in the Black Study Group we were analysing what was going on with our communities, why a lot of the fathers in our communities were not being good fathers, and one of the things we picked up on was not having a sense of your history and your knowledge of your past and where you come from. When we got together with Black Study Group, Nat was already in the world of Pan-African community spaces and all those kind of things, so he brought me into that world, and we started to talk about, well, why is the missing narrative about Africa not there? Why do we not care when something horrific has been going on in Congo for so many years, and we don't value the pain of the people on the African continent, and we were analysing why that was. And we said, okay, media has a lot of power, and the way that the narrative of Africa is very much this kind of place you have to help, fire in the eye babies, starving, da 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 da. None of the kind of stuff that appeals to masses to tour there or to the diaspora to even care about what's happening in the news. So we decided we should do something about it and dispel the myths and make our own documentary with our travels by showing what's real out there, who are the movers and shakers out there, interviewing like cool people that are doing things in Africa, like showing it's not all that negative side. There were some beautiful aspects as well, and the potential of business, the potential of tourism. There's some of the most stunning scenes in Africa. So we just wanted to put that on film and make a documentary that we could be proud of.
And essentially inspires our people to go back there and actually treat Africa as the motherland. I feel like a lot of us treat America, Black America, as the motherland, which is kind of, but that's the media. So you see good sides of Africa, they get inspired by it, and then when stuff happens there, you can feel emotional connection towards our home, essentially.
Area they call Nigeria.
And my father from the area Sierra Leone, and my mother from the area Jamaica. The reason why we stipulate that is because those names were given to us. We didn't claim those names ourselves.
Without being disloyal to my native space, I loved being in Port Harcourt, but we absolutely fell in love with Sierra Leone. And I think it was because of the beaches, the mountains, and the energy that's there that we were talking about earlier. So sorry to Port Harcourt, sorry to Nigeria, but yeah.
The spirit of the place. Yeah. everywhere was special though. Everywhere. Sierra Leone, Ghana, Nigeria, each special. You learn different things about each of them. But most importantly, I felt it was how similar each are. I know like that sounds very logical, of course, it's in West Africa, but when you go into each land, they kind of talk of themselves as different or separate. I think even here, we talk often a lot of the differences, but one thing is like there's a strong common thread between each of the countries.
Yeah, and it's in the languages, and it's in the food, and it's in this je ne sais quoi, you don't know quite what it is, but there's some connection between each people that, that remains strong in each.
And it's something that I feel we have to focus on more. Even there was similarities that we had heard in languages and patois, which I didn't even know about before. But hearing that, it's like, we focus on so much of the differences. So I guess, above the scenic and the beautiful sun, soft water and the great food and the smiling people and no racism and all of that stuff. I think the similarities, observing that was a true blessing.
How long were you out there for?
6 weeks. Yeah.
It's probably been the voyage to Motherland. Very proud to have been able to do it. It took 5 years to get to that point. So being able to do that has been.
We've done a lot together though, in reflecting this, like, we've done a lot together. We've hosted, we've been together, we host a lot of events. And we've hosted
Trafalgar Square.
We've hosted Lenny Henry, June Sapon, Kwame Kramer, interviewed them and such. And then, we've had radio shows that we used to run 3 times a week. We used to we've done a lot. But maybe Voyage to Motherland is the...
Yeah, definitely very much proud of that achievement.
Big one for us. Yeah.
Seeing it made.
And it's just the beginning, really. We're going to be doing a lot more. Just started.
So again, the Black Study Group, we already began that journey from before. Me and myself and my sisters. Meeting up with Nat was like divine timing because, like I say, he was in that world of like going to the community talks, the grassroots, all the things that I didn't even know was going on until I met with Nat. He was involved with, so it's like he elevated my my understanding of Pan-Africanism and opened up that interest even. But I've always been a Pan-Africanist because me and my sister always used to say if we were born in any other time, it probably would have been a time of Black Panthers, and we would have been Black Panthers ourselves. So I feel like we've always geared towards that, but being with Nat took it up in a couple of notches. Understand?
I feel like that was magic. Basically, my childhood was spent in half Brixton, half Cambridge, and I saw the differences. And it was one of my friends in Cambridge, white friends, that gave me Alchemist's autobiography, and I was reading that around 17 years old, 16, 17, that age, around that time. And that kind of, so when I came back to London now, I just wanted to, and I was doing a lot of research on the internet, so I just wanted to find that community that represented me, and then that's how I got more and more into the Pan-African world. So as you said correctly, a lot of African Caribbeans, the Rastas and the Pan-Africans, they're doing a lot of this work now, re-establishing roots. I didn't really learn much about African history or African culture per se from my Sierra Leonean side, because no tongue, just the food is pretty much, and certain stories. That was it. So I had to do a lot of learning myself about. That's what I said. And then when you get into the Pan-African world properly, there's so much knowledge out there. There's so many people with a lot of knowledge. There's great historians like Robert Walker, for example, that has a series of books on our history. So diving into that one and accessing and gaining all that knowledge, that's how it happens essentially.